Good evening, everyone. Ma'am, I cannot voice tareko. Responsible video. Okay.
Oh, tare sir.
Now, masi ako'y science and environment gi ahum suba numitta ako'y na nainagadosye biology gi sarukta ako'y na topic khara ngasigi ahanba biology gi ahanba numisida ako'y na nainagadosye sigi topic cell the plants ki partsing aduga tissue plants yauba tissue sing aduga nutrition in plants and animal hariba topic mari sida mapung ina nainagani ꯑꯍꯥꯟꯕꯗ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯍꯤꯡꯕ ꯖꯤꯕ ꯑꯃꯒꯤ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯇꯉꯥꯏ ꯐꯗꯅ ꯆꯪꯗ ꯌꯥꯗ꯭ꯔꯕ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏꯌꯦꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯔꯝꯗ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯃꯑꯣꯡ ꯃꯇꯧ ꯑꯗꯩ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯐꯪꯁꯟ ꯑꯗꯩ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯇꯥꯏꯞꯁꯤꯡ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯁꯦꯜꯁꯤ ꯀꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯗꯅ ꯑꯃ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯄꯨꯟꯁꯤꯜꯂꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯑꯣꯔꯒꯥꯟ ꯁꯦꯝꯕ ꯇꯤꯁꯨ ꯁꯦꯝꯕ ꯑꯣꯔꯒꯥꯟ ꯁꯦꯝꯕ ꯑꯗꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯑꯣꯔꯒꯥꯟꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯔꯒꯥꯅꯤꯖꯝ ꯑꯃ ꯐꯣꯝ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯈ꯭ꯋꯥꯏꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯆꯪꯉꯤꯕ ꯄꯣꯠꯁꯛꯁꯤ ꯁꯦꯜꯅꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯁꯦꯜꯁꯤꯗꯤ ꯍꯧꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯇꯣꯄꯤꯛ ꯑꯁꯤ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯁꯤꯗꯒꯤ ꯅꯩꯅꯕ ꯍꯧꯒꯅꯤ ꯐꯥꯔꯁꯇ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯍꯥꯏ ꯇꯥꯔꯒꯗꯤ a cell is defined as the smallest and the basic unit of life that is responsible for the life process ko ꯀꯔꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯑꯍꯤꯡꯕ ꯖꯤꯕ ꯑꯃꯒꯤ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯁ꯭ꯃꯣꯂꯦꯁ ꯑꯦꯟड ꯗ ꯕꯦꯁꯤꯛ ꯌꯨꯅꯤꯠ of life higher ko cells here. The study of cell from its basic structure, magi tong structure lay to the functions of every organelle is called cell biology ko sigi maramdan ni nabudna cell biology higher kangnai aduga akuna cell ji kanan ahan babu thoke the scientist Robert Hooke na discovered the cell in 1965 ko 1665 ta Robert Hooke na cell je discover taugi lere aduga a cell can replicate itself independently, hence they are known as a building block of life ko cell ama hai ta ngasai jiba ama natragana any life form ama or matamda cell jidagi haurakpanina ma tonda masana magi tonganba magi replica tawba ngameba aduna maram oigana maje building block of life hairaga khangnai aduga si makha tarakpada function of cells to provide support and structure of life ko adu facilitate growth mitosis and allows transport of substance ko cells na magi function da energy production tawon ba adu aids in reproduction ko cells gi magi mathau sing ni sina somla pai tare ko functions of cell area adu akoina ani subada cell structure cell ji kamaina leibagi haibagi magi maung ji kamaile haibagi structure do kon nai mabudam matamda a cell structure comprises individual components with specific functions. Like these components include cell walls, cell membranes, cytoplasm, nucleus, and cell organelles ko. Haiba component cell wall, cell membranes, cytoplasm, nucleus, and cell organelles haiba sing cell structure da yauba tongan bamkhal gi magi component ni ko. Matang sum among tongan na si first cell membrane supports and protects the cell ko haibadi mai cell akhoi gi cell ama leibagi magi outermost layer du bu punjal liba adu da leiba membrane du open cell membrane har kan it controls the movement of substance in and out of the cell. It separates the cell from the external environment. The cell membrane is present in all the cells ko cell ko remote cell membrane yawi. The cell membrane is the outer covering of the cell within the which all other organelles such as the cytoplasm and nucleus are enclosed ko cell membrane na punjalakan manungda ngasagi atopa cytoplasm or nucleus sing manungda like it is also referred to the plasma membrane ko cell membrane ko na plasma membrane hai kangnai By structure, it is a porous membrane with pores which permits the movement of selective substance in and out of the cell. Besides this, the cell also protects the cellular component from damage and leakage. Aduga sida it forms a wall-like structure between two cells as well as between the cells and its surrounding. Sigini kaya ako'y cell membrane gi magi structure ade magi laiba maung jingdo ko. The plants are immovable and their cell structure are well adapted to protect them from the external factors. The cell wall helps to reinforce their function ko. So, cell membrane ki matang the cell wall. Cell wall is the most prominent part of plant cell structure ko. Aduga the cell wall is present exclusively in plant cell. Cell wall je akoina cell plant cell jingda thingai aduga akoi animal dadi cell wall hai je yauroi. It protects the plasma membrane and other cellular component layer. The cell wall is also the outermost layer of plant cell. It is a rigid and strict structure surrounding the cell membrane. Manung yauriba tongan-tonganba ngasai plasma membrane higher cell membrane cell one cell the nucleus cytoplasm it is a rigid and stiff it provides shape and support of the cell and protects them from mechanical shock and injuries cytoplasm it is a thick clear jelly like substance present inside the cell membrane cell amai manung de yauriba tongan ba magi ngasai cell wall leirani mathang da cell membrane leirani adu manung jida cytoplasm haiga thick clear jelly like substance ko koina cytoplasm hai khangnai most of the chemical reaction within a cell ini wax kitang maitre ba amta chemagi ai voice tare screen share to ju natro call target hojima call tare voice chat kan type on okay cytoplasm the thick jelly like structure in present in the cell membrane the nucleus hai target it's a the nucleus contains the hereditary materials of the cell, the DNA. When the DNA type process when the nucleus it sends signal to the cell to grow, mature, and divide and die. Hi, by cell gi apari maru oriba je apna nucleus is apna DNA awi man ke dawi kanda send the cell to grow, mature, divide, and die. Cause my function function nucleus की function the nucleus is surrounded by the nuclear develop that separates the DNA from the rest of the cell the nuclear develop by ma DNA jibu question tamjina nucleus की manung jita DNA jung fazana atopa jing gatheng nadana question tami the nucleus protect the DNA and is an integral component of the plant cell structure ko. Cell organelles ko. Cell organelles ay cytoplasm jelly like substance की अकोइबदा लेरिबा तोंगान तोंगान बा components हाइतारे cell की component सिंग दुबो अपन organelles हाइर खंगनै अदो अपन the different cell organelles along with its principal functions are as follow ko makata sida makata menere ahamada nucleus ko. The nucleus is the site of ribosome synthesis ko. It is involved in controlling cellular activities and cellular reproduction. Aduga tonganbo organelle nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane protects the nucleus by forming a boundary between the nucleus and the other cell organelles ko. Aduga chromosome. Organelles ko nung yaw je. Chromosomes play an important role in determining the sex of an individual. Aduga smana its human cell contains 23 pair of chromosomes ko. Aduga endoplasmic reticulum, the endoplasmic is involved in the transportation of substance through the cell. It plays a primary role in the metabolism of carbohydrates, synthesis of lipids, steroids, and proteins. Golgi bodies. The Golgi bodies are called the cell's post office as it is involved in the transportation of materials within the cell. Ribosome are the protein synthesizers of the cell. The mitochondria is called the powerhouse of the cell core. It is also because it produces the energy of the cell. Energy the cell needs to move, divide, etc. Lysosomes protect the cells by engulfing the foreign bodies entering the cell and help in cell renewal. Therefore, they are known as the cell suicide bags. Suana magi tuan organelles sing tam magi nepi ba sing jido apun exam vivo the concern bi ko duga chloroplasts are the primary organelles for photosynthesis. It contains the pigment called chlorophyll. Sina akogi plant sing da yauba magi cell ki component amani. Vacuoles store food, water, and other waste materials in the cell. Vacuoles is a part of organelles in a cell. Aduga magi paidagi yamba sarukse vacuoles haiba ahamba store food, water, and other waste materials in the cell. Si map di thamnagi na mangwanda magi tungan so space ama akoi cell di kala leba du sigi vacuoles haisina ayamba sarukal ni ko cell kita. Aduga types of cells. Various types of cells perform different functions. Cell akoina based on the magi structure yang akoina there are two different cells haidoi prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Koi prokaryotic cell haitagadi have no nucleus out of a cell. Instead, some prokaryotes such as bacteria have a region within the cell where the genetic material is freely suspended. This region is called the nucleus ko. Koi bacteria agumba adagi algae gumba dari sigi nucleus out of aduga magi genetic material is freely suspended or label ko. They are all single-celled organism. Example kia bacteria and cyanobacteria ko hai basing ji akoi gi prokaryotic cell nas oiba single cell organism ni aduga magi cell ji size na 0.1 to 0.5 picometer in diameter ko. The hereditary material can either be DNA or RNA ko. Magi tungan ba characteristics mainly the prokaryotic generally reproduced by binary fission, a form of asexual reproduction. They are also known to use conjugation, which is often seen as the prokaryotic equivalent to sexual reproduction. However, it's not sexually reproduced. Eukaryotic cell hai nucleus masak uba nucleus yaw ko aduga magi size na 10 to 100 micrometer in diameter. Aduga this broad category involve plants, fungi, protozoa, and animal higher living organisms in the nasigi cells. The plasma membrane is responsible for the monitoring the transport of nutrients and electrolytes in and out of the cell. It is also responsible for cell-to-cell communication. They reproduce sexually as well as asexually. Hariba sigi cell makhalsingdadi both sexual and asexual reproduction tawba ngami. They are aduga sida akoina plant animal cell gi khenaba khara yengbe ai sida plant cells contain chloroplast, central baculus, and other plastids, whereas animal cells do not have. So magi different cell plant cell ke animal cell ga khena ba tuan ba sida feature khar piri magi shape ta square and rectangular in shape amane irregular or rounded in shape oiba cell wall yaubra plant na cell wall yawi animal na absent ore plasma membrane de animal yaure endoplasmic reticulum de animal yaure nucleus ta jo sidana amadana present lies on one side of the cell oiba aduga amana center of the cell oiba plants tana side amada aduga animals na center da lysosome present but very rare aduga keno dana animal dana present ore mato dana tongan ba magi cell gi organelles mayam je tongan ba magi plant animals gi tongan ba khenaba makan sida magi plant da yauba admasung animal da yauba tongan ba jing leire. Next cell division ay taring sa a single cell divides many times and forms a multi-celled organism ama oirang na bom damda single cell dagi akoina tongan ba cell mayam multi cell oina divide da pagi maung tu higher organism da akoina higher organism di multi-celled organism oibani moi che combine tawna cell divide tawi habagi tong samlakpa cell division gi saruk ni kosina. The process of cell division is almost same in all organisms. Adum tarakmane a cell passes through phases of growth after which are able to duplicate their chromosome before they divide. This phase in life of cell continues to constitute the cell cycle. Sigi cell amadagi cell mayam growth or jibo na cell sigi cell cycle there are two types of cell division: mitotic cell division and meiotic cell division. First, the mitotic cell division. Mitotic cell division is for growth and replacement of older cells by new cells, wherein the third cells are identical and similar to the mother cell in all aspects. The mitotic cell division occurs in haploid as well as diploid cells. Magida tongan phase mari lay akona prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase haina kama phase magi tongan ba magi maning da yawa masagi chromosome jingdu stage gi matung ina kamaina divide tawrake habado aduga akona significance of mitosis ko. It is an equation division, and the two newly formed daughter cells are identical in all aspects. They receive the same number and a kind of chromosome as were in the mother cell. Asagi first cell dale mana mu atopa cell mu hongpo matamda cell divide tawpo matamda samana na my chromosome dingdo masing samana laini. It is only mode of reproduction in unicellular organisms. Cosy type of cell division je unicellular organism the fungani. It is the process by which growth takes place in multicellular organism and plants by constantly adding more and more cells core. It also plays a role in repair during growth. For example, in bone healing, regeneration of damaged part, and replication of cells lost during normal wear and tear ko sumain tawdana magi to ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯗꯤꯕꯤꯖꯟ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯇꯥꯏꯞ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯗꯤꯕꯤꯖꯟꯁꯦ ꯁꯤ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯋꯣꯟ ꯍꯤꯂꯤꯡꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯔꯤꯖꯤꯅꯦꯁꯟ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯗꯦꯃꯦꯖ ꯄꯥꯔꯠꯀꯨꯝꯕ ꯁꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕꯁꯤꯗ ꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯃꯈꯜꯒꯤ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯗꯤꯕꯤꯖꯟ ꯃꯈꯜ ꯑꯃꯅꯤ ꯅꯦꯛꯁꯇ meiotic cell division ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒꯅ it occurs in the gonads for sexual production to produce gamete. The resultant cells egg and sperm possess half the chromosome number of the present in the parent cell core. Meiotic cell division takes place only in diploid cells responsible for production of haploid spores or gametes. This division is also known as reduction division. It is because in this kind of cell division, the normal chromosome number of the mother cell is reduced to half. In the other cell, it occurs in reproductive cell. Aduga meiosis is characterized by two successive division. Magi division, magi cell division je akoina phase ani thokna laini. Meiosis 1 haibanga meiosis 2 haibanga and cytoplasm ko whereas the chromosome divide only once. Smart of the magi sida floor chart khara lere meiosis 1 adu amasu meiosis 2 ko meiosis 1 da mu magi sub stages hairgadi prophase metaphase anaphase telophase ko samana na sigi prophase sida mu leptotin zygotin pyrethrin diplotin and dikinesis ko aduga ngasai meiosis 2 dana prophase 2 metaphase 2 anaphase 2 telophase 2 smai tawdana toan division magi cell division gi toan phase makhal jing ko sija. Next plants part koi toan plants ki part sing and the leaves are an important organ of the plant. Ito akoina panbi gi akwai maru oibase mana je maru oi it can grow in a variety of shapes and sizes. They are the primary center of photosynthesis. Primary leaves have three main functions ko leaf ki magi function sing je akoina photosynthesis tawbada sinaba. Green leaves prepare food for plants by using water and carbon dioxide in the presence of sunlight. This process is called photosynthesis. And the transpiration haragadi on photosynthesis leaves leaves play a crucial role in the removal of excess of water from plants through tiny spores called stomata. This is the process of transpiration. The transpiration the excess removal of water from the plants is called transpiration. Reproduction leaves of some plants help in reproduction also. For example, leaves of biophyllum give rise to a new biophyllum plant ko sumana koi plant dagi reproduce tawbo offspring puthokpaduna dazu akoi leaves dagi da jawis aduga modification of leaves ko leaves are specialized to perform photosynthesis magi maru main oiba mathau di photosynthesis. But they also have other significant roles to play such as support support storage of food tamba makhal gi chinjak paisala thamba and defense ko atopa environment ngak thong na bagi damak plant gi leaves ina lawa protection oina thamba ko for each of these functions they have been modified into different form. For example, tendrils of peas, spines of cacti, onion bulbs, leaves of insectivorous plants, etc. are different modified leaves. High using je apagi leaves ki modification ko. Anisubada part of plant the stem provides support to structure to the plant. They perform many important functions such as plant growth, complete and survive in different environments. The structure of the stem differs in different species. It is modified into three important types. Modification the three important types like underground modification of stem ko. When a rhizome, example in ginger, buff, onion, garlic, the fiber potato, the subaerial modification of stem. Runners on the labor, kinodon, sucker on a minta, adu scolon, jasmine the offset agan pistiaco. Aerial modification of stem, the stem tendrils, auxiliary example when a passiflora extra auxiliary example tana lufa effical but core effical but tana grapevine floral bud sigina example na anti onan adu thorns kina big vegan velia adu flowers tana flower are the most beautiful and colorful parts of the plant. They are the reproductive part of the plant. The flower has four major parts, namely petals. It is the colorful part of the flower which attracts insects and birds. Tuan-tuan ba flower ki parts in the petals layer. Next the sepals. Sepals are green leafy parts present under petals and support the flower buds from damage. Stamen second, it is the male part of the flower consisting of anther and filament, and pistil second, it is the female part of the flower consisting of stigma, style, and ovary. Functions of flower da akoina sida one the gametophytes develop in the flowers. Anisuba the flower can produce dispores without fertilization. Aduga after fertilization, the ovary of the flower develops into a fruit containing a seed core. And for the most important function of flower is reproduction. They help in the union of male and female gametes. Flower provide nectar to certain birds and insects, which in turn help in the transfer of pollen from one flower to the another. So, the flower na ako'y pollination thon bada mating pangi ko kumain na ay kanda mangunda certain parts and insects na marum kanda pollen grain to ako'y plant ki female part yon bada mating pangi ko. And flower may promote selfing, the union of sperm and eggs from same flower, or the cross fertilization. Pollination. Pollination it is the process in which the pollens are transferred from anther to stigma. The process of pollination can occur through a different medium. Pollination atopa external thon pollination, self pollination external pollination jingdi sida start pollination process pollination medium by snail na viva magi medium snail thargoi na oirakanda thon pollination process tu puna melaco phyllis adudagidi ako'y beds kaya thon manina Chiropterophilus aduga water na tuwan bana hydrophilus animals na tuwa lagana zoophilus aduga wind na tuwa lagana anemophilus aduga insect na tuwa lagana entomophilus aduga utchek na tuwan bo lagana omnithophilus ko smain to gan tuwan magi pollinating agent ay tare sina tuwan ba pollination ki process itu ko smain maming moina therapy ko aduga roibada plant ki parta roots are an underground part of the plant that absorb water and nutrients from the soil ko. That is why they are an important part of the plants. Smain to dana pa ko tuwan flower ki planting na inare balo re aduga tissues ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟꯕ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯄꯨꯟꯁꯤꯜꯂꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯁꯥꯔꯛꯄꯗꯣ tissues ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ it is a cluster of cells that are alike in configuration and work together to attain a specific function. Tissues aduga different types of plant tissues include permanent and meristematic tissues ko ꯄꯟꯅ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟ ꯑꯅꯤ ꯊꯣꯛꯅ ꯈꯥꯏꯗꯣꯛꯏ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯂꯥꯟꯒꯤ ꯇꯤꯁ꯭ꯌꯨꯗ ꯃꯦꯔꯤꯁꯃꯦꯇꯤꯛ ꯇꯤꯁ꯭ꯌꯨ these tissues have the capability to develop the strip division ko they assist in the major growth of vegetation growth in length and growth in diameter of the plant is carried out by this cell ko meristematic tissue की functioning ni aduga permanent tissue na these cells have lost their ability to distribute but are specialized to offer elasticity, flexibility and strength of the plant ko sumain tawdana akhoi sigi plant da leiba tissues maming ani lei xylem and phloem ahanba xylem haisina it is a long living tube running from the roots to the leaves through the stem ko the water is absorbed by the roots here and undergoes cell to cell movement by osmosis until it reaches the xylem core. This water is then transported through the xylem vessels to the leaves and is evaporated by the process of transpiration. Since the xylem is one of functioning, the xylem is also composed of elongated cell like the phloem. However, xylem is especially accountable for transporting water to all parts from the roots ko roots tagi tongan ba plant ki parts da ising phang baje magi xylem jigi function ni ko since they serve as an important function a single tree would have a lot of xylem tissues ko pami ni hingba ising jangman kanda sagi sigi xylem tissue jigi matau ji ising transporting water to all different parts of plant webna maje xylem tissue se amarang kane yawi it helps in the transport of dissolved substance and water all through the plants the diverse component of the xylem includes basal yawi tracheates xylem fibers and xylem parenchyma ko phloem dana the phloem is responsible for translocation of nutrients and sugar like carbohydrates produced by leaves to areas of the plant that are metabolically active ko sina ngasagi akoi plants ki पानबीसिंगदगी तोंगा तोंगानबा न्यूट्रिएंट्स अमसुंग न्यूट्रिएंट्स sugar हाइबदि हाइ कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स ओइना को सिजिंग तोंगा तोंगानबा अतोपा प्लांट की जगह सिंग दे होनबा it is made up of living cells the cell walls of these cells form small holes at the end of the cells called known as the sheath plates these form the vascular tissue of the plant these are also known as shape core they transport water sugar and other important substances because the root between the roots stem and leaves core hariba phloem dina sugar and water je transport of these tissues helps in the transportation of food all through the plant. The diverse elements of phloem include phloem fibers, sheath tubes, phloem parenchyma, and companion cells. Sino tungan magi composition sing ni ko sige phloem ge. Transportation in plants ako na different means ahum lay ako na पानी दा कमाई तौदना मागी सेल दगी टिश्यू मद कमाई तौदना अखोई सब्सटेंस जे फावर चटपगे है अहमद डिफ्यूजन है the molecules of substance move from their region of higher concentration to the regions of lower concentration this does not require energy example absorption of glucose in a cell ko माने डिफ्यूजन है higher concentration दगी lower concentration area दा जकदो मदुबो कोने डिफ्यूजन है खंगने अनि सुबदो osmosis को movement of water molecules from the region of their higher concentration to the region of their lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane ko water molecules मैम चटपगी मवोंग नि कोसिना higher concentration to the lower concentration to a semi-permeable membrane. There is no expenditure of energy in osmosis. Energy chang there. This kind of movement is also concentrated gradient ko. Active transport when the direction of the movement of a certain molecule is opposite to that of the diffusion from region in a lower concentration toward the region of a higher concentration. Ngasai diffusion di higher dagi lower da satpa sidana mo wana taina with active transport di lower dagi higher da satpa dubu wana si active transportation ko. Next is apart from other essential elements. Akhoi ki tongan bas mana pambina magi machinjak sungba natragana transport tꯧꯕꯁꯤꯡꯗ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯅꯠꯇꯅ ꯁꯤꯗ nitrogen fixation ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ process ꯑꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ plan ꯇꯧꯏꯀꯣ. Nitrogen fixation is an essential biological process and the initial stage of nitrogen cycle. ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ nitrogen cycle ꯒꯤ process ꯇ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯄꯥꯝꯕꯤꯅ nitrogen cycle ꯗ ꯄꯥꯡꯕ ꯃꯇꯦꯡꯗꯨꯅꯤ. In this process, nitrogen in the atmosphere is converted into ammonia, another form of nitrogen ko. Ngasai nuksita yauba atmosphere da yaubaduna form amadda leire. Sidana mana nitrogen is converted into ammonia when on by certain bacterial species like Ribofbium, Exobacter and etc. and by other natural phenomena ko. Tungas mana bacteria na Rhizobium ay bacteria tagi Exotobacter ay bacteria makal jingsina hogi nusiti ako nitrogen di ammonia da on topo ko. Plants are the main source of food. The nutrients obtained from plants are synthesized by the plant using various elements which they obtain from the atmosphere as well as from the soil. This group of elements includes nitrogen as well. Nitrogen ma'am ngasai food food pamina food obtain tawna bo na bang sige process itu tagas sang hari plant obtain nitrogen from the soil and utilize it in the process of photosynthesis. When na plant na nitrogen je kai sina eta ga di photosynthesis ta ko. Unlike carbon dioxide and oxygen, atmospheric nitrogen cannot be obtained through the somata of the leaves ko. Ngasai atmosphere da phangma nitrogen atmosphere da phangta ga mana direct when na Panbina because of the nitrogen gas present in the atmosphere cannot be directly used by the plant. Sumain tawdana akhoi ngasai nitrogen fixation sida mateng pangba sida si nitrogen fixation da mateng pangba tongan bacteria adudagi organism sida maming khara piriko. Example of symbiotic nitrogen fixators are Rhizobium in the roots nodules of legumes and Frankia in the roots of nodules and non-leguminous plants. Tuan plant makal jingda nitrogen fixation se tawi legumes dana Rhizobium aduga non-leguminous plant dana Frankia hariba bacteria makal jingsina nitrogen fixation mateng pangi. So next mode of nutrition ko akhona panbina kamaina tawdana machinjak sungbage haiba the process of obtaining food and utilization it to grow, stay healthy and repair any damaged body part is known as nutrition ko. Plants produce their food by taking raw materials from their surrounding mineral, carbon dioxide, water and sunlight ko. Khona nutrition je khona makhalani dong kaitui of autotrophic nutrition. Plants exhibit autotrophic nutrition and are called primary producers. Plants synthesize their food by using light, carbon dioxide and water. Heterotrophic both animal and human beings are called heterotroph as they depend on plants for their food. Autotrophic nutrition in plants. Ibon wifi on ka. Na ai wifi connection ji kitang nuai tre ko dun network ki problem kitang leire. Slide ure ko du dia. Hujik slide ure na tro. Okay. To message ure dum ta biro. Sound ta na tro. Okay, sound kitang nuai tre ko ai net si network si kitang nuai wali ko tu ge class yung pat pat tat la leire. Okay. Autotrophic nutrition hai ko. Autotrophic nutrition in plants hai ta kadi asa ma thon da pan bi na machinda sung ja bu ne bo. Koina adugi process ama oina photosynthesis. Plants are able to produce their own food through a process called photosynthesis ko. Adudagi food production primarily is carried out in leaves. Akoi food se pan bi gi machinda sung ba koina leaves tagi tawi water and minerals from the soil are absorbed by the roots and transported to the leaves through vessels called carbon dioxide reaches through leaves. Carbon dioxide leaves through stomata, which are small pores on leaves surrounded by a guard shell ko. Koina magi adudagi akoigi photosynthesis ang chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green pigment present in the leaves which help the leaves capture energy from sunlight to prepare their food called. This production of food will take place in the presence of sunlight is known as photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, water and carbon dioxide are used in presence of sunlight to produce carbohydrates and oxygen. Photosynthesis provides food to all living beings. And oxygen, one of the main components of life on Earth, is released by plants during photosynthesis ko. Ado akoigi photosynthesis ki magi reaction sida carbon dioxide plus water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives glucose plus oxygen ko. Glucose oina magi plant sinanaba amasung oxygen oina release tawrokpa ko air damu. Tonga tonga ba sida magi se leire sunlight water carbon dioxide and chlorophyll ado steps adum chamanare. Aduga tongan ba heterotrophic nutrition in plants ko. Some plants do not contain chlorophyll and depend on other plants of their food through the heterotrophic mode of nutrition ko. This type of nutrition in plants are referred to as heterotrophic nutrition in plants. Heterotrophic plants ta kamaina magi nutrition je kamaina lauge hai taragadi ahanbada parasite nutrition ko. Some heterotrophic plants depend on their on other plants and animals for nutrition ko. Masama to machindak sumna to atopa the depend or plants or animal da. Such plants are known as parasitic plants. However, the host is not benefited from the parasite. For example, Kaskata aduga kesita ko aduga sida tama mo parasitism ko. It is generally defined as a relationship between the two living species in which one organism is benefited at the expense of the other cause. Mana masagi mana machinjak lau matamda amadana kanaba aduga amadadi organism amadadi kanadaba ko. Adungo makhangi du parasitism. The organ that is benefited is called the parasite, while the other that is harmed is called the host. For example, of parasite are tapeworms, fleas, and barnacles. Tapeworms are flatworms that are round attached to the inside of the intestine of animals such as cows, pigs, and etc. They feed on the host partly digested food, depriving it of the nutrition ko. Haribji ahoigi parasitic nutrition gi example amani ko. Next, insectivorous nutrition hai taragadi. Some plants have special structural features that help them to trap insects and are commonly known as carnivorous or heterotrophic plants ko. Sida insectivorous plants je nutrition je tau pangthokpa makhangi plants du akoina carnivorous or heterotrophic plants haga kangai. This plant digests the insect by secreting digestive juice and absorb the nutrition for them. These plants grow on the soil that lacks mineral. Example when a pitcher plant, Venus flytrap, or magi carnivorous plant haga kangai ko insectivorous nutrition pangthokpa panbi jingja. Next up, saprophytic nutrition. The saprophytic plants derive nutrition from dead and decaying plants and animals. They dissolve the dead and decaying matter by secreting digestive juice and absorb the nutrition. Example when a mushroom moles have using saprophytic saprophytic nutrition. Mogi nutrients in a dead and decaying plants that give plants and animals they fungo. Saprophytes are the living organisms that live in and feed on dead and decaying organisms. They are considered extremely important in soil biology. They break down the complex organic matter into simpler substances that are taken up by the plants and various metabolic activities. Thus, saprophytes plays a significant role in ecosystem. Fungi and a few bacteria are saprophytes. Symbiotic nutrition when two plants belonging to different categories shows a close association, they are termed as symbiotic. In this, both the plants are benefited from each other. Kung ngasagi parasitic nutrition ki ona tinawad sila na lay mana host sila di host haiba layer ani magto yes benefit lo from of example na association of fungi and trees ko haibase symbiotic nutrition gi manung nasali siga mari lainaba tanda mutualism ko. Mutualism can be simply defined as a relationship in which both species are mutually benefited. Animakta kanaba piba animaki machinjak to aman amada tangaga leiba. This relationship can either be within the species or between the two different species. Species manaba natragana tuan species makal tingda leibi. Example when a organism including human beings, animals, birds, plants, and other microorganisms like bacteria, virus, and fungi. Hybridizing is the metabolism there. Lay nutrition in animals ko. Animal da labor types of nutrition ko. Some animal nutrition in element depend upon the feeding habits of the animals ko. The process of animals heterotrophic nutrition punctually the process of taking in food is called ingestion ko. The method of ingestion is different from different animals. For example, bees and hummingbirds suck nectar from plants. A python swallows its prey and cattle feed on grass code. So an animals ingi tongan ba madi atopa da defend tawrakanda magi chinjak singji phangba ngami. So the animal can be divided into following groups depending upon their food habits ko moi food habits ki matung ina tongan tongan ba groups ina khadok pai ahan herbivorous animal ko herbivores are animal that depend upon plants and fruits on their nutrition ko moi na nutrition logo matamda plants and fruits that khakta log taragadi ndu herbivores cows goats sheep buffalo etc are herbivores ko adu carnivorous hairagana that depends on upon other animals for food lion cinema example tiger wolves sila omnivorous hairagadi both and plant and animal ko human bear dogs crow si layer omnivorous aduga decomposer hairagadi animal which obtain their nutrition from dead and decayed plants ko sumai tawdana akhoi gi ngasi gi samlakpa biology gi topic khara nainagre ko aduga siga mari lenaba tongan tongan ba akhoi gi mamangi question jing da hangiba jing khangal sum haipe naina jiko ahan bada 2025 da hangba question da microbes in a detritus food chain which degrades the dead organic matter to meet their energy and nutrients requirement are best referred to as ngasagi other organic dead organic matters charakan adudagi moina nutrients amaju energy phangbado karma makangi nutrition no hai kan da koina sida autotrophic la natragan herbivorous la saprophytes la natragan heterotrophs la ai ta ga de koina maga suitable oiba tamse saprophytes oni ko sida dead and decay organism is broken down by organisms like bacteria and fungi. These microbes obtain their energy and nutrients by decomposing dead organic material, which is the defining feature of saprophytes. Hariba saprophyte hariba kambuji na moina kamaina nutrition tawge haibdo sigi dead organic matters simbadagi moigi energy and food che nutrients loweba aduna option number 3 na sumani aduga question number 2024 dana which of the following is not helpful in the fixation of atmospheric nitrogen in a useful form of plants ko which is not having mari sida pi option mari sidagi karamba nattabagi haiba ngasagi tonga tonga nitrogen fixation tabu matamda nitrogen fixation or any si tabu ahoi nutrients lotion matamda bacteria makhal makhal mayam changi haiba jing du sida rhizobium ko exospirillum aduga mycorrhiza and exobacteria ko haiba mari sida karambana sigi nitrogen fixation ga mari leina tabagi habaneba sida option number 3 je ko sida nitrogen fixation is the conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into usable form like ammonia ko ammonia lo top rhizobium na symbiotic nitrogen fixation oi in legume da oiba ko aduga exospirillum na associated nitrogen fixation bacteria in cereal crops da oiba aduga exobacter na free living nitrogen fixing bacteria in soil da amana cereal crops da aduga amana legumes da oiba aduga exception oina hariba sigi mycorrhiza na madi nitrogen fixation da oide ko aduna sigi option number 3 sina correct answer oine next the tendrils by which a pea plant slings to a support is or are option A the modified roots or modified leaves see the flower natural fruits haibneba the tendril hai tagdi akogi plant gi modification da akoina leaves tagi ngasai akoina nainagi madanda leaves tagi modify tawrakanda panbi do ngak naba ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯁꯞꯄꯣꯔꯠ ꯐꯪꯅꯕꯒꯤꯗꯃꯛꯇ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯃꯣꯗꯤꯐꯥꯏ ꯇꯧꯕꯗꯣ ꯁꯤꯖꯤꯟꯅꯕ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯟꯗꯤꯜꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯄꯤꯗ ꯁꯤꯖꯤꯟꯅꯩꯀꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗꯤ ꯃꯣꯗꯤꯐꯥꯏꯠ ꯂꯤꯞꯁꯇꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯞꯁꯟꯁꯤꯗ ꯁꯤ ꯃꯈꯥꯗ ꯆꯨꯁ ꯗ ꯀꯔꯦꯛ ꯑꯟꯁꯔ ꯐ꯭ꯔꯣꯝ ꯗ ꯑꯣꯞꯁꯟ ꯒꯤꯚꯟ ꯕꯤꯂꯣ ꯀꯣ ꯕꯤꯒ ꯗꯤꯒ ꯕꯤ ꯑꯦꯟ ꯗꯤ ꯑꯣꯡꯂꯤ ꯑꯦ ꯑꯦꯟ ꯁꯤ ꯑꯣꯡꯂꯤ ꯕꯤ ꯑꯣꯡꯂꯤ ꯑꯦ ꯑꯦꯟ ꯕꯤ ꯑꯣꯡꯂꯤ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯞꯁꯟ ꯃꯔꯤꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯅꯨꯡꯗ ꯑꯍꯨꯝꯁꯨꯕ ꯕꯤ ꯑꯣꯡꯂꯤꯁꯤ ꯆꯨꯝꯃꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯣ ꯀꯣꯏꯁꯟ ꯊ꯭ꯔꯤꯗꯁꯨ 23ꯗꯁꯨ 2023ꯗꯁꯨ which is not a part of plan ꯀꯣ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯄ꯭ꯂꯥꯟꯒꯤ ꯄꯥꯔꯠꯁꯤꯡꯗ ꯉꯁꯥꯏ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯄ꯭ꯂꯥꯟꯒꯤ ꯄꯥꯔꯠꯁꯤꯡ ꯅꯩꯅꯕꯗ ꯗꯥꯏꯒ꯭ꯔꯥꯝꯗ ꯌꯥꯎꯈꯤꯕꯅꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯀꯦꯂꯤꯛꯁ ꯀꯦꯔꯣꯂꯥ ꯖꯥꯏꯅꯣꯁꯤꯌꯝ ꯄ꯭ꯂꯥꯁꯦꯟꯇꯥ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯃꯔꯤꯁꯤ ꯃꯅꯨꯡꯗ ꯀꯔꯝꯕꯅ ꯄ꯭ꯂꯥꯟꯒꯤ ꯄꯥꯔꯠ ꯑꯣꯏꯗꯕꯒꯦ ꯍꯥꯏ ꯇꯥꯔꯗꯤ ꯑꯣꯞꯁꯟ ꯅꯝꯕꯔ 4 ꯀꯣ ꯄ꯭ꯂꯥꯁꯦꯟꯇꯥꯁꯤꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒꯗꯤ it is not a floral wall, it is a structure inside the ovary where ovules are attached, so it is not considered a main part of the plant ꯀꯣ ꯄ꯭ꯂꯥꯟꯒꯤ ꯃꯅꯨꯡꯗ ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯒꯁꯨ ꯃꯥꯗꯤ ovary inside ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯄꯣꯠ ꯑꯃꯅꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ part of plant ꯒꯤ ꯃꯄꯨꯡ ꯐꯥꯕ part ꯑꯣꯏꯗꯦꯅ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ option number 4 ꯁꯦ ꯃꯥꯁꯦ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ correct answer ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯅꯤ. Next, the pollination is the mechanism of fertilization in plants ko. Plants use abiotic and biotic agents to achieve pollination. Which one is not an agent of pollination ko? Masagi tongan-tongan ba agent mayam pigi adu na ako'y birds, wind, water, animals ko haribasing adu pollination gi agent jing ne na hagi adubu sida piriba option mari jimangda wind ꯌꯥꯎꯈꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯩ ꯐꯪꯒꯁꯇꯤ ꯌꯥꯎꯈꯤꯗꯦ ꯑꯦꯟ ꯋꯥꯇꯔ ꯌꯥꯎꯈꯤ ꯑꯦꯟ ꯑꯦꯅꯤꯃꯦꯜꯁ ꯀꯣ ꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯦꯖꯦꯟꯗꯨ ꯀꯔꯝꯕꯅꯣꯅ ꯀꯣꯏꯁꯟꯗꯅ ꯑꯦꯖꯦꯟꯗꯨ ꯀꯔꯝꯕ ꯌꯥꯎꯗꯕꯒꯤ ꯍꯪꯉꯛꯄꯅꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯃꯤꯡ ꯀꯩ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯁꯦꯁꯇꯨ ꯃꯃꯤꯡ ꯀꯩ ꯀꯧꯏꯅ ꯍꯪꯉ ꯇꯥꯔꯒꯁꯨ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯈ꯭ꯔꯤꯕ ꯆꯥꯔꯠꯁꯤꯡꯗꯨ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯌꯦꯡꯕꯗ ꯆꯤꯟꯐꯥ ꯄꯨꯔꯒꯁꯨ ꯌꯥꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯁꯤ ꯑꯦꯛꯖꯥꯝꯗ ꯀꯩꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯍꯪꯉꯛ ꯇꯥꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯀꯣꯏꯁꯟ ꯃꯥꯟꯅꯕꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯀꯣꯏꯁꯟꯗꯤ ꯀꯣꯏꯁꯟ ꯅꯝꯕꯔ 2 ꯐꯪꯒꯁ ꯆꯨꯝꯃꯅꯤ. Next, Sina cell division equal process of a first meiotic division is typically longer and more complex when compared to process of mitosis. It has been subdivided into the following phases. They arrange these phases into an order ko haibasigi paikyatin, leptotin, diprotin, and dicotin. Dikinesis haibasing ako'y mitosis ki magi tonganba tongan-tonganba phase-sꯤꯡꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯁꯤꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯦꯁꯤꯠ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯔꯗꯔꯗ ꯁꯦꯝꯃꯨ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯀꯔꯦꯛ ꯑꯟꯁꯔꯁꯦ ꯑꯣꯞꯁꯟ ꯅꯝꯕꯔ ꯕꯤ ꯀꯣ ꯑꯍꯥꯟꯕꯗ ꯂꯤꯞꯇꯣꯇꯤꯟ ꯖꯥꯏꯒꯣꯇꯤꯟ ꯄꯦꯞꯁꯤꯇꯤꯟ ꯗꯤꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯇꯤन ꯑꯦꯟ ꯗꯥꯏꯀꯤꯅꯤꯁꯤꯁ ꯀꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕꯁꯤꯡ ꯑꯁꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁꯦꯜ ꯗꯤꯚꯤꯖꯟꯒꯤ ꯄꯥꯔꯠ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟ-ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟꯕ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯖꯦꯁꯁꯤꯡꯅꯤꯀꯣ aduga sida given below are two statements. One is labeled as an assertion and other is labeled as reason ko ahanba assertion da the opening and the closing of stomata is a function of guard cell ko akogi photosynthesis tawba matamda pambi gi da yawba stomata je sina pambi gi guard cell haiba guard cell sida yawba stomata gi opening and closing je akogi function of guard cell ne haiba and anisubadana gases exchange occur through the stomata by diffusion ko haiba anise kamaina mari leina kya haiba the both a and r correct and r is the correct explanation of a option a adu option b da both a and r are correct but r is not the correct explanation of a ko aduga ahum subada a is correct but r is not correct aduga mari subada a is not correct but r is correct hai option gi manungda ngasai gi animakse loinbak chumeba adubu sida pi assertion a ga reason man pi reason ga ani gi mari di chana deba aduna maram kanda akoina option number b ko both a and r assertion and reason are correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ identify the correct sequence of event during the photosynthesis ꯀꯣ ꯑꯍꯥꯟꯕꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ photosynthesis ꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ sequence ꯁꯦꯝꯃꯨ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯅꯤ ꯄꯤꯔꯝꯃꯦ absorption of light energy by chlorophyll splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen starting the dark reaction conversion of light energy to chemical energy reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates ꯀꯣ ꯑꯍꯥꯟꯕꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ photosynthesis ꯇꯧꯔꯤꯁꯦ ꯂꯤꯞꯁꯇ ꯌꯥꯎꯕ chlorophyllꯁꯤꯅ ꯑꯍꯥꯟꯕꯗ absorption of lightꯁꯤꯅꯦꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯃꯔꯝ ꯑꯣꯏꯀꯥꯟꯗ option A ꯁꯤꯅ ꯑꯍꯥꯟꯕ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯅꯤ ꯑꯅꯤꯁꯨꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤ ꯂꯥꯏꯠꯇꯨ ꯂꯧꯁꯤꯜꯂ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯗ ꯂꯥꯏꯠꯇꯨꯕꯨ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ conversion of light energy to chemical energy ꯗ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯣꯟꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯑꯍꯨꯝꯁꯨꯕꯗꯅ water splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen ꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯃꯔꯤꯁꯨꯕꯗꯅ reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrate ꯉꯁꯥꯏ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯆꯪꯕ carbon dioxide ꯆꯪꯕꯗ ꯃꯥꯗꯣ carbohydrates ꯇ ꯑꯣꯟꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯏꯔꯣꯏ ꯂꯣꯏꯕꯗꯅ starting of the dark reaction ꯀꯣ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯗꯅ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ sequence ꯁꯦ ADBEC ꯀꯣ option number ADBEC ꯀꯣ option number D ꯑꯣꯏꯒꯗꯕ ꯀꯣ option number D ꯁꯤꯅ correct answer ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯅꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ sida question among the conversion of atmospheric nitrogen to nitrates and nitrites by bacteria such as rhizobium is known as ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯅꯦꯕ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯇꯥꯝ ꯁꯤꯟꯅꯈꯤꯕ nitrogen fixation ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates and nitrites by bacteria ꯑꯗꯨꯅꯦꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ option number B nitrogen fixation ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯇꯥꯝꯁꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯉꯁꯤꯐꯥꯎꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯔꯁꯟꯁꯤꯅ ꯂꯣꯏꯔꯦ ꯃꯊꯪ ꯇꯥꯕ ꯀ꯭ꯂꯥꯁꯇ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯂꯦꯝꯍꯧꯔꯤꯕ ꯑꯇꯣꯞꯄ ꯇꯣꯄꯤꯛꯁꯤꯡ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯕꯥꯏꯑꯣꯂꯣꯖꯤꯒꯤ ꯂꯦꯝꯍꯧꯔꯤꯕ ꯇꯣꯄꯤꯛꯁꯤꯡꯗꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯊꯪꯒꯤ ꯅꯦꯛꯁ ꯀ꯭ꯂꯥꯁꯇ ꯃꯈꯥ ꯇꯥꯅ ꯅꯩꯅꯒꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤꯗꯤ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯂꯣꯏꯁꯤꯜꯂꯁꯤ ꯊꯦꯡꯛ ꯌꯨ क्या हो गया भाई why I cannot find this I cannot take report here it gives this I cannot operate this one I have to delete all